Baxter County Sheriff. Mr. Pate has done a lot of good work for the community, and I think he's, I wouldn't say solely, but he is, well, I'll let him talk about the sheriff's office and the things that he wants to do and what he's seen. So without further ado, Mr. Pate, welcome to the stage.
Good morning. How many vets have we got in the house today? Thank you, gentlemen, for your service, and thank your families for me for supporting you during those times. I'm John Pate. I'm a Republican candidate for Baxter County Sheriff. I know there are a lot of people that have already made their minds up on who they're going to vote for. So I'm still going to give you the nickel tour of what I have in mind, what some of my plans are. If you have any questions afterwards, I'll be in the back to answer anything that you want to ask me. So I'm just going to start off with a little few flashcards. I'm going to give you some information about me. You tell me what you think. Like I said, I'll be back there happy to answer any questions you have. Okay? I did 8 years in the Army National Guard. Well, let me back up for a minute. First off, I'm not a politician. I'm not a public speaker. I'm just like the rest of you. I grew up in Memphis, poor kid from a poor neighborhood, son of a police officer who actually wound up being a sergeant. If I got in trouble as a kid, I had nobody to call because, well, let's just say my dad was the last person I wanted to see. Everybody in my family was a police officer. I'm the only one that went into the Army. I'm the only one that went to college. I got into law enforcement after I got burned out working for the fire department on the ambulances. When I wasn't at the fire department, I was working at the trauma center. After seeing so much death and destruction, decided, had enough. Wanted to do something different. Got on to the police department in West Memphis, Arkansas. Everybody know where West Memphis is? It's like South Memphis extended. Okay, beautiful area. Anyway, learned how to control people, learned how to talk to people, learned how to work with people. My dream went from being a doctor to being a cop. That's what I decided I was going to do. Did it, went to med school, graduated, I think they call it as a surgical technologist now. Back then it was surgeon's assistant school. You did everything but open the patient up. Wasn't for me. Didn't like surgeons. You didn't know this, your doctor's not your surgeon. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, got hired as a dispatcher, jailer. Still wanted to be a cop. That was my dream. Had the chance come up. Right after I graduated from med school, a good friend of mine says, hey, you want to go to the police academy? I said, well, yeah, I want to go to the police academy. He said, well, come on. Trust me, my wife at the time wasn't happy. She wasn't happy. I just finished school. Went to the police academy, graduated somewhere in the middle of the class, but outshot everybody. True story. I was trying to break my dad's record. My dad was the only person in history to date to go to Camden, Arkansas, and shoot a perfect score, perfect 500s back to back. I didn't do it. I shot a 498 and a 497, and they said, you qualified, you're done. They wouldn't let me keep trying to go. I wanted to have my name under his on the wall with the highest marks ever in the history of Camden. Long story short, I found out I was really good at working narcotics. I started out trying to find, like every other young patrolman wants to arrest everybody. Didn't know really what I was doing. Found out I was really good at finding drugs. Really good at finding drugs. I was so good at finding drugs, I had to move departments, not only because I was having gangbangers do drive-bys in my home. This is a true story. I lived down in the country, thought nobody knew where I lived. And I would see carloads of people driving by with guns sticking out the window. Told me it's time to move again. When you work narcotics in a small town or small area or rural community, you're going to make people mad because you're going to catch little Johnny or little Susie doing something wrong. You're going to do your job. They're going to complain to the sheriff or the chief of police. Next thing you know, you got to move on because you done ruffled feathers. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm a cop and I'm an investigator. I'm a small business owner. I've been doing private investigation work since 2006. I know how to run a successful business. I've done it. That brings me to another point. I don't need the county's money. I'm not running for this position to make money. How many candidates out here that you know will do the job that they're running for free? Any of y'all go to work for free? They won't do it. I'll do it for free. I don't need their money. I get my VA money. My private investigation business runs, of course, for 5 states. I have employees that work for me. I have an office manager. The only thing I don't like is my darn cell phone won't stop ringing, and I haven't afford calls. There's a lot of reasons for those calls too, which I'll touch on in a second. Let me get my cards. Hold on. Oh yeah. In case y'all didn't know this, I'm a big constitutionalist and a huge supporter of the Second Amendment. I sure hope everybody else here, obviously, is a supporter of the Second Amendment. I feel naked without my gun on today, but didn't think it was appropriate to wear it on stage in front of y'all. I just thought it would go good with polyester. Sorry. Did the best I could. And I couldn't find my tie, so don't hold that against me. Or at least one that would go with this shirt. Okay, let's get to the stuff that I want to change at the sheriff's office. How many heard the radio show on KTLO the other day? Okay. How many know that Montgomery lied? Thank you. One of the things he says, there's no good old boy system.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a good old boy system. Trust me. Yes. One of the things that I pride myself on, and it has very much hindered me, is I'm not taking a dime from anybody for my campaign. I pay for everything out of my pocket. If I even had a doctor friend of mine that probably most of y'all know from living here for a while, he offered me $1,000 for my campaign. I wouldn't take it. And he said, why? I said, because then I would do a favor. He said, no, John, you don't owe me nothing. I said, yes, I do. And he couldn't understand that. He's like, no, I need it for tax deductions. I said, well, then send it to the Red Cross. I don't want it. You keep it. So when Montgomery says there's no good old boy system, trust me, he is in a lot of people's pockets. The last time he ran, now I'm going to give you these figures if I'm wrong soon. The last time he was opposed, Everett Goochman ran against him. He spent $54,000 on a job that only paid $40,000 a year. Tell me he doesn't owe people. He got reelected. He didn't pay for all those signs and stuff himself. Somebody else paid for those. Got him reelected. He owes people. The richest people in this county run this county because they are friends with the current sheriff. I'm not that guy. I don't like the sheriff. I think he's a liar. I think he's a manipulator. And if y'all like him, God bless you. You know, this is America. First Amendment right. You know, you can say what you want about him, love him, whatever. I don't like him. I think he's, irresponsible. I think he started out like most politicians with good intentions, and later on realized he owed too many people too many favors and decided to do what they wanted to do. So we know the good old boy system is alive and well. Well, I'm not part of the good old boy system. Never have been. I've always been the black sheep because I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. If it hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. But I'm going to tell you the truth. That's one thing a lot of people love about me and a lot of people hate about me. I won't lie to you. I can't stand here and look you in the face and tell you what you want to hear and lie to you. That ain't me. I don't do that. My biggest complaint right now that I really want to work hard on is the drugs. Okay, Baxter County has an epidemic of methamphetamines out here. Okay, 85 to 90% of your crime around here can be contributed to methamphetamine use. Okay, that goes for anything from your skill saw being stolen to the change out of your car. It's meth heads that are stealing it. Now, these people, look, I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. I can't stand crime, and I certainly don't feel bad for drug addicts. I really don't. I think that they got a problem. They've made bad choices. I work cases all the time. I'm turning down cases because mama got on meth and ran off and left the kids, and daddy's trying to raise the kids by himself. That's unacceptable. It only takes one time, for what I understand. I've never smoked meth, but it only takes one time for somebody to hit that pipe or put that needle in their vein or get talked into it. It's bad decisions. They wind up being incarcerated and become part of the revolving door at the county jail. So, yes, I want to work dope. I want to get the drug dealers out of here. Because if you get the drug dealers out of here, the users will follow. I guarantee you. Because if they can't get it here locally, they're going to go to where the dope is. And I promise you, they will not be riding up and down the highway knowing what I plan on doing about the drug problem. Let me tell you what I plan on doing. First and foremost, How many of y'all have seen my videos on Facebook? Anybody? Okay. You know we have no canines in this county whatsoever. We have no drug dogs or tracking dogs. None. And they're free. The federal government has a grant. They're free. You have a certified canine handler, the federal government will give you a canine. They say, but John, why don't we have them? I don't know, I'm not in charge. Why don't you ask the current sheriff? So, yeah, I'm getting 4 canines, and I'm going to put them on the road. Well, John, that's expensive. How are you going to fund that? I'm donating my salary. We'll put it back into the canine program. We'll put it out there so every patrolman has an AR-15 in their squad car. We need 4-wheel drive trucks. We got 585 miles of county road in this county. We need 4-wheel drives. I'm pretty sure because I've been in my 4-wheel drive and didn't think I could cross that low water bridge. Serious, y'all. We need canines and we need some 4-wheel drive trucks. I did the research. It cost us $2,000 more for a 4-wheel drive truck from Dodge because they are on the state bid than the Chargers that they got. $2,000 more. The governor says, oh, they cost more to maintain. Not if you lease them. You turn them in every 2 years and you get a new one. DOT does it. Where's Mr. Payne? Mr. Payne, you still in here? All right, never mind. DOT leases their Dodge trucks, and they trade them in every 2 years and get new ones. And something breaks, something major breaks, they're under warranty, they're taken care of. That eliminates the county shop from having to fix them. So there's, that's cost effectiveness right there in itself. Is it going to cost more in gas? We're going to pay for gas regardless. Every time you go to the pump, or you go to the pump, you feel it, I feel it, we all feel it. We're going to have to pay for gas. So let's get some canines on the road. I personally have nothing against the sheriff's office having a helicopter. I realize who it belongs to. He leases it to the county. We pay the insurance. We pay the taxes on it. We pay for the fuel. Why? So we can look pretty out there and we say we got it. Does it have its uses? Yeah, it helps find dead bodies in the river. It helps to find lost people, but so do tracking dogs. And, I've already found 2 people that have volunteered to fly the helicopter for free. And I personally would rather have 4 canines than a helicopter, just because it does more good. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. If I'm wrong, again, First Amendment, you got your opinion, I got mine. Okay? So that's one of the things I wanted to get to. Another thing is we have no video cameras, we have no body cameras, we don't have laptops in the cars. What does the laptops have to do with anything? Number one, if a deputy comes out to your house to take a report, he has to drive all the way to the sheriff's office to do the report. Every other agency in the United States that I know of has laptops in the computer, in the car. They can sit right there on the side of the road. Y'all see them every day. Mountain Home PD's pulled off on the side of the road, sitting somewhere. Y'all think they're working radar. They're not paying attention to you. They're catching up on reports. That keeps them in the cars. That keeps them visible. We don't necessarily need substations because the deputy can sit out at a fire department, sit out in a parking lot somewhere at a closed store and do his reports. And people drive by and go, oh, look, officer doing his job. It's called being visual. It's called being proactive. You can't be a reactive police department because then all you're doing is taking reports. Who here used to live in a big city? No, there's a lot of crime. What happens when you call 911? My house got broke into. Okay, we'll send somebody out there. 2 hours later, a police officer shows up and goes, okay, what happened? And a couple days later, you can get the report. That's unacceptable here. If you're out there being proactive, you're being visible, you're being seen, you're stopping cars, you're talking to people. Business owners know your face, they know your name. How many of y'all from small towns? Okay, how many of you knew the police officers that patrolled your area, that lived in your city, lived in your county? You saw them, you waved to them, you didn't necessarily talk to them, but you knew them and you recognized them. That's called good policing and community awareness, because they know who your officers are. We need more of that. We need a lot more of that. Currently, the sheriff's office has a 60% turnover rate. For the past 3 years, now I just went back 3 years. I didn't go back 17 since Montgomery got in office. I went 3 years back. 59.9% turnover rate. That's jailers and patrolmen. Anybody in here that's ever run a business will tell you, if you have a 50 to 60% turnover rate, you have a mismanagement problem. Sheriff Montgomery said, oh, it's because they don't get paid enough. Really? When you go to McDonald's and you get a job flipping burgers, number one, you know how much you're going to make and you know what your job entails. And a smart person would vet them really well and say, you're not going to be able to live like you've been living, or you're not going to get that new house making however much money we're paying. and make sure they understand that. And then you manage them, and you walk them through it, and you train them, and you get them to be better people and better officers, and get them raises. I don't buy into the whole fact, oh, they're not making enough money, so they quit and go somewhere else. Sometimes they do, because the sheriff's office puts their jailers through the police academy, which technically is illegal, but if they do the right paperwork, they say, oh no, they're patrolmen now, so we're sending them to the police academy. So you've got certified officers working in the jail. What happens is a young patrolman just getting out of the police academy, or a young deputy? I'm going to work on the street. No, you're going back in the jail. No, I'm not. I quit. I found another department I'm going to. So they leave. We got to stop being a training ground for other agencies. We lose a lot of officers like that. We lose a lot of deputies. Let me tell you why we lose a lot of deputies. Nepotism is crazy at the sheriff's office. They do not have a no nepotism policy at the sheriff's office. All but one female that works at the sheriff's office has a daddy that works for the sheriff's department. Sounds like a conflict of interest to me, but I'm not the voting public. I'm just one voice. Okay? I kind of get tickled sometimes. The video cameras are not that expensive. Okay? The body cameras are expensive. Okay? But the current sheriff administration, because I don't know who cut the check, spent $125,000 on telephones in the sheriff's office. Now these aren't, there wasn't nothing wrong with the old phones. They just wanted telephones that they could see each other on and hear each other when they're talking to them. They're like James Bond landlines. They got little cameras on them, and you can see who you're talking to. Really? We need to spend $125,000 on that? Seriously? You can't get your butt up and walk to his office if it's that important? Or her office? Apparently Montgomery didn't think so, because that was $125,000 of your money out of his budget that he paid. That would have outfitted every unit with cameras, body mics, and body cameras. Not everybody body cameras, but your patrol deputies. People tell me all the time, well, we don't need body cameras. Why not? What are you scared of? It keeps the officers honest. It helps protect your rights. It will convict the criminals. It will make sure that that was a righteous, honest arrest. I was taught a long time ago as a boy. I was telling Miss Carney, I grew up in a courtroom, okay, as a son of a cop. My daddy raised me till I was 13. I grew up in a courtroom because when you're a cop's son in Arkansas or daughter, there's no such thing as daycare after school. There's no such thing as a babysitter. Summertime, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, from 9 a.m. to noon, I sat in the courtroom right down the front row. I could tell you who was going to jail by the way they talked to the judge. I could tell you who was going to walk out of there. My favorite was when the judge was in a good mood and some pretty girl come up there and was like, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I won't do it again. And he's like, okay, now don't do that no more. And she'd walk out with a grin on her face. She knew what she was doing. But I learned real early on, fair, firm, consistency with the law. I don't care who you are. The laws apply to you, the laws apply to you, and they apply to me. If I got pulled over the other day, I'll get to that in a minute. I have ADHD really bad, so it's easy for me to get off track, so please bear with me. Currently, the current administration has a $5 million lawsuit against it. It just went up. Sheriff John Montgomery ignored sexual harassment complaints for over a year and a half. Now, before I get into that, please understand, I know the young lady that filed this lawsuit. I've known her since she was 10 years old. She is married with kids. She is going through hell right now. Her husband almost got denied promotion because John Montgomery called where he worked and said, don't promote him. Everywhere she goes, she can't get hired. She was going to work at the prison. John Montgomery blocked it. Called up there and said, don't hire her. She is stuck at home with one income. She went from having 2 full-time incomes with 3 kids to just one income. They're barely getting by. I'm going to give you a little backstory on that. For a year and a half, this young lady was sexually harassed. The other day on the radio, the sheriff said harassment is only illegal if it's unwanted. He said it. Who heard it on the radio? Man back here shaking his head. That's what he said. Let me get this straight, Sheriff. If my daughter gets a nude picture from a guy and she says, leave me alone, I'm married, I think this is disgusting, don't send it to me again, and he keeps doing it, does that not define harassment? What about when he took her, when they were in the room? How many read the complaint that I put online? He They were taking inmate mats and putting them in the storage room. You take them up every morning and you give them back out at night. Okay? They're in there. She's moving mats. This guy goes in and closes the door. There's no camera. It's just a closet. He undoes his pants and tries to force her down. She gave him a swift uppercut to the testiculars. He let her go. That's attempted rape. Did they file charges? No. He was her supervisor. She complained for over a year, and I think, according to the paperwork, a year and 4 months, she complained and complained and complained and complained. They left her on the same ship with the same guy, promoted him. He did her evaluation. Finally, she complained to the sheriff. She actually got in the sheriff's face. He threw his hands up. I am not going to discuss this anymore. It should have never gone on that long. As soon as it happened and she complained about the harassment and the pictures in general, he should have been fired. At a minimum, an internal investigation. There's no investigation. If I get elected, we're going to have a review board. Because I don't want the police policing themselves. That's one of the biggest problems we have now. You got a cop that's done something wrong? Well, that's okay. We'll investigate it. And depending on who you're friends with, you might walk scot-free. So I want a civilian review board, which is made up of 2 business owners here in town. I want people from outside, like an attorney from Fayetteville, business owners, sheriff's deputy, a police officer, a police chief. I want a 7-person review board. So if there's an internal complaint, they can hear that complaint. And if it's a validated complaint and they think, yeah, this is justifiably an issue, it's turned over to the state police for prosecution or have them investigated. Not your current CID looking into stuff. That's very biased. And if you're in that clique or friends with the sheriff or whatever, or your daddy works at the sheriff's office, slip under the rug. That's got to stop. It's not fair. There is no equal justice for people in this county. If somebody stole your 4-wheeler and somebody stole Benny Magnus's 4-wheeler, whose 4-wheeler are they going to look for the hardest? That's not equal justice. That's called the good old boy system. Depends on how much money you got. Now, I'm not calling Benny out because I like Benny. I don't have anything personally against him. I never have. He's got me a job in the past. My ex-wife worked for him, which, I'm never talking about my ex-wife. But anyway, I like Benny. I don't have a problem with him. He's done some questionable things. There's a lot of people that don't like him. I'm not going to say anything bad about it because he's never done me wrong. And I'm a person that judges people on their merit. What you do, how you treat me is how I'm going to treat you. Okay? Somebody come up to me and say, don't you like him? He's a dirty dog. Really? What's he done to me? I don't know him. When you do me wrong, then I'll worry about what kind of person you are. But as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you treat me fair, I'm going to treat you the same way. I won't lie to you. That much you can understand. You can take that to bank. People get mad at me all the time. They call me whining about this or that. I'm like, you need a lawyer. You don't need a private investigator. You need to get your life straight. Hang up on them. Because while they're talking to me, I'm looking up on the computer what the actual stuff is that's going on. All right, let me move on. Get off my soapbox here for a minute. Why do we only have 5 reserve deputies in this county? 5. That's 5 reserve deputies. Most reserve deputies are certified officers that have jobs, and they're tired of being broke. So they want to keep their police certifications. They go to the sheriff and say, hey, look, I earned all these certifications. I'm a certified police officer, but I just started my excavation business, or I just started my carpet cleaning business. Can I be your reserve deputy so I can keep my certifications up? Yeah, sure. You only got to work so many hours a year, and we'll keep your F1 form going, and you keep all your certifications. That's why I'm not certified no more. When I got in the private sector, I went from making $9 an hour as a Baxter County deputy to $50 an hour. It wasn't a hard decision on which I wanted to do. I love police work, but I had a family to raise. And I've worked all over this state working narcotics. People tell me you can't get rid of the narcotics problem. Yeah, you can. You can work dope hard enough that the dealers are scared to move the product. And if that's the case, they're going to leave the area. Make them somebody else's problem. Send them to Missouri. Send them to California. I don't care. Make them move. Because if they leave the dealer, the users will follow them. You think a meth user that's stealing your change out of your car for their habit is going to get gas money to drive to the next county over or to the next state to get their dough? No, they're going to pack up and they're probably going to be living in their cars anyway if they're stealing your stuff. So they're just going to go to the next area where the dealer is, so they're closer to them, and steal somebody else's stuff. Been told you're not going to get rid of drugs. No, I'm not going to get rid of drugs. We'll never get rid of drugs. Drugs is here to stay. Hell, Oregon made it a sanctuary drug city. We're at Oregon. I don't remember. Portland, I think. They've got the highest rate of overdose and deaths right now. It's pitiful. Is that what y'all want here? I mean, because they're looking at making marijuana recreational. Now, I personally have nothing against marijuana. Let me clarify this, because on the radio the other day, they said, how are you going to enforce the laws if you want to enforce marijuana laws? I never said I wouldn't enforce marijuana laws. I'm going to talk real fast because I'm running out of time. I'm saying marijuana has done a lot of good for people that need it. Okay? I've got a lot of friends that are vets in the VA. Anybody that's been in the military that goes to the VA knows the VA loves to push pills on you. Here, take this. This will make you feel better. This will make you sleep. This will make you faster. Here's Viagra, just in case your wife ain't happy. You know, there's all kinds of stuff VA gives you. Marijuana, medical marijuana has done a lot for victims, or for vets with PTSD, people with cancer. I've seen it. I know it works. My son has a medical marijuana card. Okay, he earned that card from things that happened to him in his life. Not because of me. I raised my son. My son's a great kid. All my kids are good. I've got a daughter in college, and I have a 22-year-old that just became the manager of his own Dollar General store. None of them have ever been in trouble. Well, my son's a dumbass sometimes. He got a ticket for speeding, but other than that, he's a great kid. Hard, good work ethics. Okay, that's what I believe in. You earn everything you get. Nobody gives you anything. Okay, that's how I raise my kids. That's how I treat everybody. You work for what you got. You don't look like a man, personally, I'm pointing at you because you're closest. I'm sorry. You don't look like the kind of guy that wears a suit and tie to work every day. If I guessed you're a farmer or you work for the county or something like that. It's manual labor.
30 years deal.
See, there you go. Okay. This is a working man. Nobody gave him anything. I guarantee you he earned everything he's got by hard work. Oh, let me get on where I have. Okay, the reserve deputies. I called standards the other day, which regulates the state, said each agency is allowed one reserve officer or deputy per 2 full certified officers that they have. I checked to see how many full-time certified officers that Baxter County has with state police. We could have 17 reserve deputies. Could have 17 reserve deputies. We could have a full staff at the sheriff's office and the jail, but for some reason Sheriff Montgomery has a 60% turnover rate. Why do we only have 5 reserve deputies? If we had 10 reserve deputies, and I've said this before, if we have 10 reserve deputies and they're certified officers, and you're carrying them so they can keep their certifications, why aren't you utilizing 10 reserves working 24 hours a month? That's 1 weekend day. That's 1 day off from work a week that you go out there and get back to the community that's supporting you and helping you. If we put 10 reserve deputies on the road, you know that's 3 additional deputies per shift, 7 days a week. Why do we got a shortage of deputies? Why does it take them 2 hours to get to your house for a call? Why does it take them 45 minutes? Somebody said, well, what if they got a call down in Big Flat? Well, we got people that live in Big Flat that are certified officers. Some of them work at the prison. You know, you can ask them if they want to be a reserve deputy. And they say, well, what does that entail? Well, you have to come out and patrol your area in Big Flat 24 hours a month. We can solve this problem of not having enough manpower. And it won't cost taxpayers anything. It's going to cost us gas. We're going to pay for gas anyway. Everybody knows that. Brandon's done screwed us on that. We're going to have to pay for the gas. It's going to cost us. But we can definitely cut down on the crime if we use reserve deputies. So we get 15 of them, rotate them out, and possibly cut the hours back. So at nighttime, you don't have to hear, oh, we only have 3 deputies on duty after 5. Why? There's no excuse for it. I hate excuses. If you've ever had a business, or you've ever been in the Army, or you've ever been in the military, what's the maximum effective range of an excuse? 0 meters. Okay? I don't like excuses. I'm not going to give you excuses. I'm going to give you answers. If I don't have the answers, I'm going to find the answers. If I can't find the answers, somebody that works for me will. Okay? Everybody gets up here that's a politician. Everybody gets up here and tells you this is a problem and that is a problem. We need to fix it. But they don't give you the answers to the problems, do they? They say, I want to do this and I want to change that. Well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to change that? They won't give you answers. They give you the problems. We know what the problems are. We don't need you to reiterate what we already know. We need you to fix it. So how are you going to fix it? That's the key thing. When you go to the polls and you vote, how is your candidate going to fix it? Some of them got some great ideas, but have they told you what it's going to cost you as a taxpayer? Have they told you what they're actually going to do to help fix that problem? If anybody can think of a single candidate that's done that, please just raise your hand. I'm sure somebody has. I'm sure there's a candidate that has said, hey, we have a problem with big pharmacies. We got a problem with this, we got a problem with that. But did they tell you how they're going to fix it? Did they tell you how much it's going to cost you and how they're going to do it? I mean, personally, I would like a roadmap to know where I'm going. I don't necessarily trust the guy at the gas station telling me to go down here, turn right, and turn left. I want a roadmap so I can see it. I believe your candidates should give you a map. So here's what I plan on doing, right here. This is how we fix it. There's the problems, there's the solutions. This is how we're going to get there. This is what's going to cost you. I hope you all agree with that. Let me hurry up, I'm sorry. The lawsuit, back to the lawsuit that Sheriff Montgomery's under, went from $1 million and just got picked up by a major law firm in Little Rock. It is now $5 million lawsuit. And I don't care who gets elected sheriff, Montgomery and the county sheriff's department is going to have to pay that $5 million lawsuit. I have seen the evidence. We are going to swallow that pill. If you all want to vote for the same man, or your friends want to vote for the same man that's about to take his entire budget and spend it settling a lawsuit because he had a jailer that couldn't keep his pants up, that's your right. That's why we get out here and vote. But that's not the person I want representing me in office. Back to the important stuff. We need investigators and CID to be working cases and claims of nursing home and elderly abuse. Right now I get calls every day. Hey, my mom fell out of the bed and broke her hip at the nursing home when she was supposed to be under fall prevention care. Or my grandma's got black and blue bruises all over her and she's in the nursing home. They look like handprints. I can't go out and investigate that because they hide behind HIPAA. They throw that HIPAA thing up in front of me and say, well, you tell me nothing. Law enforcement steps in and says, hey, we got an allegation. Nursing home police here, I need to see your files. They haven't given me files. It's an ongoing investigation of a criminal matter. Those folks need to be held accountable. They're taking care of our moms, our dads, our kids in some cases. We need a task force. And when I say task force, please don't think, oh, it's a whole bunch of guys in a room with chairs. I'm talking about just 1 or 2 deputies that already sitting on their butts not doing anything. Because I've been in CID. I work with them fairly close. I made a lot of them mad because I've had them literally made them mad. I had them reopen 2 cases they called closed. I got to look at them like, no, it's not a suicide, it's a homicide. No, it wasn't a homicide, it was a suicide. They got mad, they didn't like it. You call somebody out on their stuff and show them their mistakes, they should say, thank you for correcting me, I apologize, I'm human, I made a mistake. I do it every day. I tell you something that it's wrong or I'm making a mistake, I'll tell them, I'm sorry. I apologize in advance if I tell you something's wrong. They got mad at me. They said, we'll turn it over to state police. No, they won't. They get away with whatever they want as much as they want because they don't have anybody supervising them. It's bad management. But anyway, back to what I was saying. We need those deputies to be on the internet finding these pedophiles that are luring your kids and your grandkids into these chat rooms trying to meet up with them and molest them and take advantage of them. They're not doing that. The federal government actually has grants, and so does the state, to help fund that because they want a special computer so it keeps all the data. They can print it out and stuff. It's kind of complicated. I don't know all the facts about it, but there's actually funding for that. So that's more money into the sheriff's office right there to help pay for that kind of stuff. What does it do for you guys? It don't do anything for you unless you've got kids or you're out there surfing the web looking at porn with kids in it or something like that. This helps keep track. This helps arrest pedophiles that are after your kids. It also cuts down sex trafficking. Anybody that thinks we don't have a sex trafficking problem here in Harris County is wrong. We do. It is all over this country. And with all the illegals coming across the border, yeah, I said it, illegals. All the illegals coming across the border, you're going to see a lot more of it. You're going to see a whole lot more. How much time? 2? Let me hurry up. Okay. I'll get to the good stuff. I thought I hit the good stuff. I'm set on moving the dispatch office back to across the street to the state-of-the-art 911 center. We don't need 2 dispatch offices, one for 911, one for the sheriff's office. Why? That's stupid. Call 911 is what we've been taught. I told our whole life as kids, you need to get an emergency, call 911. 911, not hang up and call 425, whatever it is. So that needs to be moved back over there. That's costing us money to have that. I covered nepotism. Let's see. Oh, panhandlers. All you gotta do is pass a county ordinance, do the quorum court, and the sheriff's department will enforce it. If you're gonna do panhandling anywhere in this county, you pay $10 and get a permit for a day. I guarantee you that will stop that panhandling, because that gives the county deputies and the city police officers the right to go, hey, you got a permit, hit the bricks, or you're going to jail. They'll leave, guaranteed. That or they'll pay a $150 ticket right there on the spot. It's a scare tactic. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it'll get rid of these panhandlers. We'll see all them folks leaving real quick. Warrants. We need a warrant officer. We do not have any warrant officers. You could take 2 reserve deputies and make them the warrant officers and clear up a bunch of these warrants. We have over 1,000 outstanding warrants for people in Baxter County, which equates to approximately $100,000 in fines. You go arrest them folks, they pay their fines, guess what? It clears up the warrant list, and that's more income and revenue back into the county. I'm not saying sheriff's department, I'm saying back into the county where it goes to help get restitution for victims. Almost done. The website the sheriff's office needs to be changed. It does not say all subjects are innocent until proven guilty. You are running people's lives with this website. Business owners that get arrested for a failure to appear on a traffic ticket they forgot to pay are being arrested and put on that website, and it's messing with people's businesses and their livelihood because they think, oh my goodness, they're a criminal. They failed to appear. What did they fail to appear on? It doesn't say. It just says FTA. Bond, $500. It could be something as simple as a traffic ticket. We don't know. You need to make sure that's up there. People need to agree to that. If you get on Arkansas Court Connect, start looking stuff up, what's one of the buttons you have to click before you go any further? I agree. That means that you read the terms and conditions and understand that these folks, this is public record, yada, yada, yada. So that needs to be put on that website, because otherwise you could really screw somebody's entire life up. Because a check didn't clear the mail. I mean, seriously? We got major crimes to worry about. That ain't it. Want to push prosecutors for longer jail terms for repeat offenders. I want drug counselors in the jails. Okay? Why? Because, yeah, they're addicts, but they're people too. Okay? They're your kids, they're your brothers, your sisters. They're your neighbors, friends, and family. They have no access to any type of counseling in that jail. They don't even have access to the NA handbook that's inside there. Got 5 certified counselors willing to donate their time to come in and help those addicts. Not because they're getting time off their sentence. Not because it's doing anything except giving them a different direction when they get out of jail. If you done burned everybody in your life, you've hit rock bottom, you're in jail. Okay, you're out on bond. Don't do that no more. They release you out the door without direction and some kind of counseling. Where are you going? Right back to your druggy friends. So you're right back in that circle again. That's why you keep seeing that door revolving. Same people, once, twice a month in jail. Same names. That's got to change. Need drug counselors in there. I'm going to shut up. Right?
You're about done.
About done? Okay. All right. Folks, I'm going to let this man speak. I'm going to close with this. I don't need or want the money. I want to make changes for this county. Okay? I want to be your sheriff. I'm John Payton. I'm running for Baxter County Sheriff. I just want to make this county a better place. Thank y'all for listening to me ramble. God bless you.